Hello and welcome to the Awakened Spirit YouTube channel. My name is Melanie Sheree. I'm a lifelong medium and spiritual teacher. And today we are going to be going on a journey into the series that I like to call the Empowerment series. And we'll be exploring what I like to call the doorway. So if you are into this type of content and are interested in how you can develop your intuitive spiritual gifts, being able to shift your physical reality through visualization techniques and using your own innate magic to do so, then this is definitely the channel for you. So be sure to like and subscribe so that you can be the first to know when new videos drop. I hope that you really enjoy this class, and I hope to see you soon. Well, welcome everybody to class tonight. Thank you all so much for being here. And tonight we're going to go into the first of a series on empowerment. And this is one of my favorite things to teach because, man, I can't tell you how many years I went where I just felt like very, very disempowered. And I have a feeling that I'm not the only one where you just feel like life, right? Like life itself is just giving you a hard run. Let's put it that way. But I think our tonight's amusement picture, Melanie, who's here as a student, really helped me out. Was that yesterday? I was furiously trying to post something to my Instagram feed, and I was talking about Awakening Sanctuary, the women's intuitive training program. And I was like, in Awakening Sanctuary, you can have all these awesome things happen and make immense shits. But what I really meant to say was shifts, but I posted it anyways. And thankfully, Melanie messaged me because otherwise people would be looking at Awakening Sanctuary and be going, wow, do I really want to own my sensitivity and make immense shits?
We're just here pooping our pants.
Oh my God. It was so good. When I saw it, I was still like furiously trying to get a bunch of stuff done. And I was like, man, that is the best, really the best mistake anybody could ever make. So if you know me, if you know my content, amusement is the number one spiritual tool that you need at all times to begin to be able to move through things like energy blockages, heavy, stuck, hard, difficult pain. You just need something to anchor into that's not so serious. So tonight we are going to be making some immense shifts. Shifts. I was trying to enunciate shifts. Shifts. Immense shifts. Have you seen that meme where it's like, are you a girl who poops? Or are you a hot girl that, okay, anyways, the comments are great. Anyways, moving on to empowerment. All right. Immense empowerment. So I was going to ask, how many of you have felt like, sometimes life just autocorrects things in your Instagram feed to say things or whatever it is, right? How many of you have just like felt disempowered? Like no matter what you do, it's just like that roadblock, or things in relationships in life where you just are always feeling like you're somehow hitting that wall, right? It's very frustrating. So what I put together for you is the series on empowerment, and today we're going to be exploring what I like to call the doorway. So let's meditate, let's drop in. Go ahead and take a nice deep breath. Just recognize that you made it. You've arrived. Feel into your body. Notice your feet on the floor. And let's just start by, with your intention, I want you to call all of your energy back from your day. Just start to see that bright, sparkly energy, that attention, those conversations all flowing back to you. Taking a nice deep breath. let's start to create a grounding cord that attaches at your hips, runs all the way down to the center of the planet. Really watch that connection happen. And as it does, I want you to just give your body permission to let go. Permission to release all of that energy you've been holding onto or managing or carrying. Anything that you hit today that you felt like so triggered by. And if you can watch that energy in your body as maybe kind of an opaque color or a texture, watch that start to fall out of your body and down that grounding cord. We're just going to take a moment to slow down here and really watch this process. Just been noticing that lately in the world, it seems that there's quite a bit of ungrounded energy. It's easy to match that hurry up, go, frantic, next thing, the next thing, the next thing. Just start to really watch that release. Any of that charge. Yeah, and if there's any conversations or interactions that you're still processing, just start to notice where that is in your body. Is it all tight up against the back of your neck? Is it activated in your stomach? Maybe you just feel like there's kind of a weight at your chest. Say hello to that energy and just bring your attention to it for a moment. Give it that hello and let it just fall away. Breathe. And if you take it too seriously, you're not going to be able to make any immense shifts. So find that lightness. It's how it got stuck in the first place. Take a moment to start to notice your energetic space. What does that aura bubble look like for you? Does it need to be smoothed out? You give it a little spin and a scrub. And if there's anything else in that bubble that's not you, start to notice that energy. Maybe there's colors, conversations, requests, demands, attention. It can show up really like anything. Just see what you see. And then tuck that grounding cord into that aura bubble, or vice versa, rather. Take the aura, kind of cling wrap it to the grounding cord, and just let all of that energy drain out of that bubble. flushing it away. Noticing that your space gets bright and fluffy. Take a moment and start to bring all of that attention right into your center of head. Is there any energy in that space today that doesn't want you to be able to receive the information around immense shifts? Anything that's serious, anything that's kind of pushing on that space. Maybe there's a person in there. If there is, I want you to find a stampede of the funniest animal that you can think of to chase that energy out of your center of head. I don't know why, but kangaroos came to mind. Perfect. Find that chair in your center of head where you can really own that space. And if you need to redecorate a little bit, you need to clean up, just start to gather all of that energy, scooping it out or dropping it down that grounding cord. Taking a nice deep breath, popping a few bubbles for anything that says no. Anything that says no. Just release that energy. And out in front of you, I want you to create a bubble. And I want this bubble to show you the energy that says no, that says stop, that says you can't because of XYZ. What types of colors start to fill into that bubble? Notice what you notice. If it's rather intense and kind of rude, you can get your amusement picture out and hose it down. Breathe. You get any other impressions about this energy? Does it remind you of a specific memory? Is there a specific person that comes to mind? We're just really giving this attention because that energy of that stop and that no and the you can't is really that first layer of that blockage to you stepping into your empowerment. We've been fighting this and ignoring it for so long. Who is it? What is it? And if you don't know, what color is it? What does that color remind you of? I want you to take that bubble, put a grounding cord on it. It's been telling you no this whole time, so it's only right that you should ground it. You're grounded. around that bubble. Start to move it away from your space. And blow it up. Let it go. I want you to ask the question, what do I need that gives me total permission, total validation, that energy that says, hell yeah, that encouragement. Start to create a big golden sun above your head, calling all of your energy back from all of time and space, bringing it to the highest vibration possible for you right now. Let that energy of encouragement, permission, and validation fill into that golden sun as you create that. Maybe even just a little sprinkle of empowerment in there too. You get to choose. You get to have a say. You get to have a voice. You get to succeed. You get to take that step. You get to try something and have it not work out and try again, and maybe it works out 10 times later. Validate that energy coming in by bringing it in through the top of your head. Watching it cascade through your entire space. Out into that aura bubble. Take a nice deep breath. And notice your body. Start to come on out of meditation. You did it. You survived. I am so curious how that was, because for me over here, watching you all look at that, the energy got really intense. It got so intense. I was like, whew, spicy in here. Ah. Juliet says, I felt the spice. Yeah. Really, really intense. Just like pressure, right? Like that energy that just pushes on you and says no. And there's so many places that can come from. It can come from our conditioning. It can come from people in our lives. It can come from energies that we hold within our space, either from this lifetime or a previous one. There's just so many different layers of that stop. But I think that oftentimes what happens is we try something and we hit that stop so many times that we just anticipate it and stop trying to take the step because that's there. Or you kind of try to ignore it in some type of way. Anybody see anything that they were surprised about or they want to share? Melanie says, the spice was surprising for me. People came up that I had no idea could be the naysayers of what I'm doing here. You didn't know that it could be your relatives? Yes, so that is a really big thing. Especially family tends to have an idea of what we're supposed to do with our lives. And especially if you're growing and shifting and changing, the people that are closest to you and relate to you the most are the people that are going to unconsciously resist you taking a step or changing, because then they don't know how to relate to you. I don't know how many times I've been to a family gathering or event where my family wants to talk about something that happened in the past that I was involved in. And I'm like, wow, thank you so much. I'm so excited that you can only see me as my one mistake that I made when I was 12. Um, I'm sure that's a relatable experience though, because how many times have you taken somebody that you're dating home and your parents like, oh, remember the time? Remember the time? And you're like, I am 20 years older now. Thank you. Juliet says a lot of it was family for me too. Yeah. And that's a big one. Because when we're trying to grow, we're pushing up against that energy from the family that says, this is what's safe, this is what's relatable, this is who you are. You're trying to take a step right now? Oh, no, 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 no. Don't do that. Malia says, I saw myself in first grade not getting picked for the best reading group. No! The trauma! That's devastating. Ah, yeah, it's hard. It's hard not feeling like you're valued. Like, girl, you were just resonating over here, and the other reading groups were, they couldn't have it. My inner head, the culprit was me. The logical thinking side of me. After that, into the grounded bubble was my family. Yeah, I mean, you think that it's you because you're stopping yourself because you're hitting that energy because it's painful. You hit up against it. It says no so strong. And if it's family, there's that threat, unconscious threat there that says, I will not love you if you take this step. I will not accept you if you change. I will not take care of you if you grow outside of this little bubble. And you're like, but I have this multidimensionality. No, this is what's lovable. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Cats are awesome. Awesome, awesome. Well, let's take a step back from our trauma and we can look at some other energy here. So I think what we're really talking about is a lot of energy around invalidation of your power. And especially for people that are highly sensitive, if you saw things while you were younger, like if you experienced like shadows that you were scared of and your parents were like, oh, there's no monsters under your bed, or maybe it was more like you saw things like within the dynamics of the family that you weren't supposed to see. Maybe it was more like you felt a lot of things and you were too sensitive. Your ability to be highly tuned in was maybe not something that was acceptable because you were tuning into things you weren't supposed to know. Oftentimes we're told that we're wrong or we're punished for those things at a very young age, and it really shuts down the ability to feel empowered in your sensitivity. So, I mean, I'm curious, what kinds of things have you experienced as a highly sensitive soul? I think that, I'll just ramble a little bit. Some of the more common experiences are sounds are too loud, lights are too bright. So certain textures and fabrics are like torture. Social situations, sometimes if it's all small talk, I'm literally about to pluck my eyeballs out of my skull because I'm so bored. If one more person asks me about the weather, I'm going to jump into oncoming traffic. Juliet says, I saw these eyes watching me when I was in my childhood room once when I was awake, and my parents just thought it was a nightmare, but it was real. I'll be the first to admit I was afraid to sleep on my own way later than I should have been because I continued to have those experiences into my adulthood. And not knowing what to do with that was so frustrating because there's this idea that because spirit isn't tangible, you don't have a say, which is the definition of disempowerment, right? Not being able to have a say over what's going on. Or when you're in a situation and you can't have any say over the environment, and the environment is causing you all this stress. I was told I was very much too sensitive all the time when I was little. I used to see a cat when I was very little that wasn't actually there. I've seen shadow figures and had entities terrorize me, asking to have my closet checked. Never saw anything but could feel it. Yeah. And that's a big part of feeling disempowered in your sensitivity, right? Because you're at the whim of all of the things you're experiencing, and everybody else around you is like, you have such a crazy imagination. Wow, you're so imaginative. Can you please just look at the TV for a little longer and leave me alone? Ah, yep, couldn't relate more. Absolutely could not relate more. All right. Well, I think that we should look at the doorway, which is very exciting meditation. So if you're ready, let's get into it. So go ahead and start to take a nice deep breath, find your comfy space. I'm just a little sweaty. My legs stick to my chair. Go ahead and take a nice deep breath. I'm going to edit that out of the video. This is just this for your entertainment. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll leave it in there. All right. Find that amusement. Breathe, notice your body, notice if you're a little activated from having that little chat in your meditative space. Go ahead and just start to notice your body, and I'd like you to envision in front of you a path. Just start to notice what type of path it is. Is it straight? Is it winding? What is it made of? Stone, gravel, brick, marble, grass. I want you to start to walk down that path. You might notice what's around you, what the environment is, the scenery. As you walk, there is a door. Dun, dun, dun. And I say that because this door is the energy of your disempowerment. Just start to notice the door itself. How big is it? What color is it? Does it look scary? Is there any writing on the door or other features like a window or handle? Before we peek in there, I want you to just find that amusement that you can anchor into, because this energy is probably a little charged. So if you're already sweating, or if you're ready to make an immense shift, be sure to find a little bit of lightness. And we're just going to go right in. So I want you to go ahead and pull or push that door open. Start to look around in that space. What is in there? Is it just literally a family reunion? Maybe there's boxes, or it looks like a sewer or a dungeon. Maybe it's a cubicle. What is the environment? What types of energies do you notice in there? What do you hear? What do you see? Are there any sounds? And somewhere inside of this room, there's a piece of you. So I want you to call out for that piece of you that's sitting in there. Find yourself. And you give her a talking. Ask her what the heck she's doing in there. What are you doing in here? Maybe there was something that you were trying to learn or figure out or solve or complete. Maybe being in this room was a way of protecting yourself. Maybe there was a lot of circumstances that forced you to feel like you had to be in there. Whatever the situation is, it's okay. Give that compassion to yourself. Give yourself a hug. As you do, you can just jello morph that part of yourself back into you. Let it become a part of you. And then get the heck out of there. Find that door. Come on back out. You can shut that door behind you. Be sure to breathe. Find that lightness, that spiritual lube. And back on that pathway that you were walking down, there's another way to kind of venture. So I want you to start to walk down that path again. This time it might be a little sparklier, shinier. Notice the environment you're in. And I want you to find the next door at the end of that pathway. And this is the door of your validation. Notice what that door looks like, how big it is. If there's any energy between you and that door, I want you to just take a leaf blower or a super soaker, fire hose, clean the space off between you and that door. You have to karate chop some people out of the way, so be it. And this time I want you to let that door open itself. As that door opens, take a look at what's inside of that space. What is the scenery? What do you notice? Who's maybe in there? And if there's any other versions of you out there on any dimension or level in the cosmos, any past, present, or future iteration that is ready to step through that door with you, I want you to just call out to all of those versions of yourself. Let all of that energy start to come back through that door. As it does, it can mesh and integrate with your physical body. Breathe. And in that space, I want you to find something that you can take with you that will help you to integrate the energy that you just experienced in the space. Maybe that's a symbol of some type, an object, a flower. Find that thing. And with that thing, I want you to create a big golden sun above your head. You can place it in there as you call that energy to you. Let it get big and bright and sparkly. Get excited about that validation, because this is the ability of you to validate your empowerment as a highly sensitive soul. It doesn't matter if somebody else thinks you're too much or too sensitive or too this or too that, because you can validate yourself. And that's empowering. Go ahead and bring that golden sun in through the top of your head. Filling your entire body with that gold. Let that cascade out into your aura bubble. Take a nice deep breath. You can come on out of meditation. Hi, welcome back. Y'all look so sparkly. Oh, how was that? Curious. I'd love it if you'd unmute so I can hear about it, because I was seeing some really cool stuff. I mean, some of those disempowerment rooms were like Mine's pretty scary. I'm not gonna lie. Ah, if you'd like to share, you can.
I can share. Um, my first room, the disempowerment room, was well, it reminded me of the King's Cross station when Harry Potter like got hit by Voldemort. It's super bright, and I like just instinctively was like Voldemort, like that little like creature thing is like there, and that ended up actually being me. So I was like so silly, so I just was like Accio Mel. I like called myself back because there was nothing else there in the room. It was like the door I saw very clearly went through. It was a pull, by the way. I feel like this is important to mention because the door was a pull. It's open.
Mhm.
Walked in super bright. That happened, and then leaving and then going over to the empowerment door. I had difficulty seeing the door. So when you suggested like hosing it down, Olivia's coffee enema came to mind. So I was like hosing that down, and I could just sort of see like this like weird fog. So that like dissipated. And then my door appeared and it was like a hobbit door. Um very soft, Julia.
Had a
But
hobbit.
but I had difficulty picturing inside the room. And and my dog was there as like that item for like for validation or whatever, but she passed away like 3 years ago. And I feel like since she passed, like being a neurospicy person, like my routine, like all that stuff's just like gone down so since then. But she was there and that was like really nice to see her there. Um and this door was a push it in, not a pull open. So the disempowerment door was a pull open and the empowerment one was a push it open.
Wow.
That was my experience.
What did you make of seeing yourself as the Voldemort?
I well, I mean, I was not surprised, I think, to a point. Because I think that like I view that part of myself as like ugly. The part that like the part of me that doesn't validate myself, that is like I basically take on like what other people say to me or have said to me in the past. And it's like this recurring storyline, this limiting belief that I didn't realize I was like clinging on to until this evening. Like I think I was low-key aware of it, but was not surprised
Yeah.
in a sense.
And I think so many people hit something that they feel is like not good enough, unlovable. It's that part of you, it's that part of you that just you have to like tuck away. And when we do that, we can't bring our energy out of that space. So in this practice, we're
Mhm.
really integrating those pieces of ourselves where we say, like, okay, this was really bad, ugly, and horrible, and I never want to be that again. And I'm just gonna shove it in the closet.
Yeah.
But I think it's also very normal to go into the space where there's all of that empowerment and for you to hit a bunch of energy that says, there's nothing to see here.
Literally just this smoky, misty fog of
Yeah.
illusion and
That's
delusion.
very, very normal. And there's just a little bit of unconsciousness in the space, which we use a lot of times to cover up some level of pain. So, where you've been in pain around not being able to access that space, there was that level of, oh, maybe you just don't even need to know that this exists. It's fine. Just push it, If I can't have it, then I don't need to be aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that I did do in my disempowerment space was when you suggested like pulling that part of me like and making it a part of me. I just kind of it's almost like I was talking to my inner child. Like this thing that's just been like starved for to just be seen for who I am. And I was like, all of you is welcome here. Like, you don't have to hide anymore. We don't have to stay here. You don't have to stay here anymore.
Yeah.
And that's like where I started to tear up a little bit.
It's very powerful to meet yourself there and to show up as the safe, compassionate adult for the first time for yourself. It's like a huge relief. Huge. There's so much there. So what I would invite you to do is, as stuff comes up in the process through this, continue to go back and check on your younger self. Ask yourself what you need. Ask yourself what you needed and give it to yourself. Maybe you needed a grounding cord. Maybe you needed a hug. Maybe you needed to be told that you were fine exactly as you were, or that you were lovable, you know? So giving that to yourself can help you really take that step. Great work. Yeah. I'm so excited that your dog showed up. That was really cool.
Her name's Callie with a K. And they didn't know until years later.
That's so cute though. Oh, it's so sweet when pets do that. Julia, did you want to share?
Yeah, I'll share. The first one, I saw myself in a dungeon. It was like an old,
Somebody was in a dungeon.
or it was like an old orphanage that's been neglected for a bit.
It was haunted.
It was like it was disgusting. And no, like basement, no.
Yeah.
And then when you were like, oh, like find yourself in there, I was like, oh, there I am, like curled up in a corner over there. And then I found myself, and then I was like, yeah, why are you here? And she said, because I just wanted to fit in and I just wanted to be like loved, basically. And I was like, oh, well, you don't have to be here anymore. And she was like, okay.
Well, that was crazy.
And then I freaked out, like low key, high key, when Melanie said the Hobbit door, because I saw Hobbit door from my empowerment door. So it was like the Hobbit door from Lord of the Rings. And then when I went into the door, it was like Bilbo Baggins' house, basically. That was it.
It was the coolest house.
It was just like books everywhere and tea and like a fireplace going. And I was like, okay.
We're all Lord of the Rings nerds, is what we're saying here.
Yeah.
Same.
I had to blow up my hobbit hole. What?
You blow it up.
Well, I was thinking like there's no way that this is like where my empowerment door leads to. Like, where am I getting tired? Like, so I was like, I'll blow it up. Like, legit. Like, I walked in and it was Bilbo Baggins' house, like his hobbit hole, like just the dark, like all the lights were out. That was the other.
Hey, well, at least we were all traveling on the same astral plane. Welcome to your empowerment door. What's the music from The Lord of the Rings? I'm drawing a blank, but anyways, very cool. Did you notice anything interesting in the house?
I think Melanie, me. In the second house, the Hobbit house. I saw myself writing and like drinking some tea, my like future self, or like more empowered version of myself.
Yeah.
And just seemed very relaxed and confident. And I was like, that's nice.
Beautiful. I mean, that's all you can ask for sometimes. I remember many years ago, I wrote somewhere that I just wanted to feel okay. My highest goal for myself in life was to feel okay. Like literally the bar was so low. I just wanted to feel okay. And I read that like 3 or 4 years after the fact, and I was like, wow, sometimes you just don't realize how much progress you're making until you look at something like that and you go, huh. So that sounds beautiful, being able to just sit there and relax and have tea and write, and it's lovely. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So I think we're just at about class time here. Thanks so much for being here. It was lovely. I had a lovely time. We had lots of lovely inside jokes for tonight's class. I just wanted to make a few announcements. Wednesday night meditation classes are free for all Awakening Sanctuary students. Melanie messaged me and said, I feel like I'm getting way more than I am paying for. I'm like, oh, I appreciate you, but they're free for you guys. So they're every Wednesday night at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Friday healing clinic this week is going to be moved. So we haven't decided on a definite day or time yet, but it's either going to be Saturday or Sunday. So stay tuned for that. If you're interested in going for the healing clinic, your first one is free. Yeah, and that's really it. That's all I have. Thank you all so much for being here. And if you have any other questions, I'll stick around. But in the empowerment series, there's a couple of different levels and layers of energy to work. So this first one that we worked on was invalidation around your sensitivity. And then we're also going to go in, how do you trust and have the courage to trust yourself? How do you manifest and have the courage and trust to take action when you manifest? And then just full circle, bringing it all together, because it's layered. It's layered like an onion. Awesome.
Have you ever had a parfait?
Oh, parfait. Yes, parfaits are nice. Oh, like a 12-layer cake, layered like the Earth's crust and the different layers of the Earth's crust. That cracked me up. Any other questions before we wrap up?
I do have a general question about the colors that appear
Yeah.
when we're like in meditation. Do they mean anything? Are they correlated with anything?
Mhm. So when you're looking at a color in meditation, you're starting to notice an energy. And if you can think about what that color reminds you of, that is your energetic read of the energy. So let's say I'm looking at a red energy and it reminds me of a car, sports car. Start to kind of get into the description of that. It's fast, it's flashy, it's showy, it's maybe a little bit of egoic energy. There's something about presentation there where I'm really trying to show off. That's the energy of that red. Whereas maybe a different shade of red, you look at it and you go, what does it remind me of? It reminds me of blood. And then you think of Saw number 273, because how many of those series is there? But it's the first thing that comes to mind. So you're like, okay, sick and twisted, dark and demented, scary, a little bit of a different red. So it's going to be up to you. There's no set definition for what you're seeing and reading, because there's a million different shades of different colors, and the red that I see and the red that you see might be the exact same color, but we might have different reads on it. Or you could see, maybe you see this red one time and you think of cherries, and the next time you think of sports car. Now there's going to be a different read both times, but it's probably right. So just trusting yourself with whatever you get with that color. Does that make sense?
Totally. I think that for some reason I was thinking that like blue has to do with XYZ and reds have to do with DEF, like that kind of a thing. I wasn't really like making the connection that for everybody it's going to be different, and it's like that first impression rather than like a set rule,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, there's no real set rule when you're reading energy. It's just what are you perceiving about it. So when we're talking about getting into it on like an entry level way, we're looking at the color. What does it remind me of? Start to describe what it reminds you of, even if it's super random. And that is the read on what that color is. I know there's like all these charts online that are like red is love and pink is compassion and yellow is excitability and blue is authority, and that's great, but for you that might be very different. And if you find that when you're looking at specific colors and they're always for you having the same type of energy, you're probably stuck on a picture that resonates at that color. So for me, how I could describe this is a lot of times I used to see the color orange, and the orange was just the stop. And every time I hit it or saw it anywhere, I was like, I hate orange. I hate it. It's disgusting, frustrates me, it makes me mad. I just want to punch it in the face. And it was that I was really stuck on this energy that was a limit and a lack, and this like push energy that was saying no. And so every time I saw orange, I was like, oh. Right. So I just kept seeing it and I was like, orange is the worst. Orange is torture. Orange is walking in the desert all by yourself with no water and you're lost. But that is, if you're noticing the activation, if you're noticing the resistance and the visceral, like, I hate this color, there's something there. If it keeps coming up and it's the same read, there's something there. So if you're getting the same read for the same colors, put that into a bubble and blow it up a couple times. You're muted.
A couple times, not just once. Blow it up a couple times.
Yeah, a couple of times, because you're gonna go through a couple of different layers around the color. I can't tell you how many times I read an orange before I finally moved through it. It was probably 15 times before I was like, all right, I can look at orange and not want to throw myself in front of a moving bus, which is also kind of orange, right? It's yellow, it's orange, whatever. But, you know, like I'm ready for the orange to take me out. I can't with the orange. It would just, I couldn't do it. But I made it through and now I like it sometimes. It's not great. I don't look great in orange, but you know, personal preferences. Any other questions? Juliet.
I was gonna say your shirt looks orange to me right now, so I just thought that was really funny.
Oh, it's red.
I know it's like the way Zoom is or something, it looks orange to me. Yeah.
Oh.
Also, me too, very orange.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So like that whole thing was great.
The whole thing with me explaining red and the color red of my shirt, and you're looking at me going, Melanie, are you colorblind? Oh, I'll have to I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to drop it in the chat and see what it actually looks like.
I could take a screenshot and send it to you and you'll be like, that's orange.
I mean, I guess maybe it's the lighting. It looks like a deep orange, huh?
It does. Like a tangerine, maybe.
Like a jersey. Yeah, now that you say it.
Yeah. I don't know. It still looks pretty orange to me. Yeah.
Stop.
Sorry.
I just know it looks on me. It's just not my color. As I explained that wearing my orange shirt.
I mean, to me, orange looks great on you.
Oh, good. Yes. Man. Yeah, I'm starting to question my reality. Anyways.
I got you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, it was great seeing you.
You're welcome.
Have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
Bye. So if you loved this video today, you can sign up for the Awakened Spirit meditation classes. And what you get are weekly hour-long live virtual classes on Wednesday nights at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Your first 2 classes are free and you can cancel anytime without any BS. It's super simple. I won't even ask you why you're canceling. If it's not for you, it's not for you. More info and the link to sign up will be linked in the video description. I also host bi-weekly Friday healing clinics, which are on the 2nd and 4th Fridays of every month, where you can come and get a discount healing. More information on those healing clinics will be linked below in the description. And your first healing clinic is free, so come and check it out. Awakening Sanctuary Round 2 Women's Intuitive Training Program is starting in October. If you have friends or family that are interested, please send them my way and get on the wait list or sign up to RSVP for the open house. That is going to be a really exciting and awesome time to get in, learn how to tune into your intuitive abilities, and own your sensitivity as your greatest gift. Going from exhausted empath to empowered energy worker is all what the certification is about. And be able to really turn that ability on and off, which is such a gift for highly sensitive souls. If you would like to support my ability to do free classes, and if you would like to support my channel, my ability to do scholarships for people into the intuitive training programs, you can Venmo me at Melanie Sheree. The last 4 of my phone are 3942, and the picture is of me with wings right now. It might be different in a little bit, but this really supports my ability to do scholarships for people into the intuitive training program, which is an 18-month long program where you can learn how to develop your intuitive abilities and really own that sensitivity